Welcome to a Thursday edition of the newscast. I'm Angelina Zarnecki, in for Jennifer Vong. Ethics and EVs. More on that in a moment, but first, our China Haley is in the newsroom with headlines.
Thanks so much, Angelina, and we will begin with the UAW. Acting President Rory Gamble says he's confident the union's 12 remaining board members are innocent of any wrongdoing related to a widening federal corruption probe. However, Gamble admits he is, quote, worried about the possibility of a government takeover if prosecutors decide to charge the union with racketeering. Gamble speaking with our Mike Martinez on Wednesday.
Anytime you got something like this happening in any union, you could suffer that fate, and that's why I feel such tremendous disgust for those reps who have been found guilty of betraying their oaths of office, because they have jeopardized our organization for their own selfish reasons.
On Sunday, Gamble took charge of the union from President Gary Jones, who was on a paid leave of absence. Jones has not been charged with the crime, but has been reportedly implicated in the corruption probe. That investigation widened Wednesday to include money laundering and wire fraud charges against Joe Ashton, a retired UAW VP and former director of General Motors. The scandal has resulted in 13 charges and 10 guilty pleas so far. In addition to assuming the president's duties, Gamble is working to secure ratification of the UAW's tentative labor agreement with Ford. And we've learned the pact has been shot down by workers at one of the automaker's larger plants, Chicago Assembly. 1,599 workers voted against the deal. 1,030 supported it. Chicago Assembly is represented by UAW Local 551 and has a history of labor problems. The recently retooled factory builds the Ford Explorer and Lincoln Aviator. UAW workers across the U.S. are voting on the tentative contract through November 15th. You can track the results at autonews.com. Production of the mid-engine Chevrolet Corvette has been delayed until early 2020 due to the UAW's 40-day walkout against GM. Output was scheduled to begin by the end of this year. GM now says its plant in Bowling Green, Kentucky will start building the redesigned Vette in February. More than 46,000 UAW workers were on strike against GM from September 16th until October 25th, when they ratified a 4-year contract with the automaker. Tesla CEO Elon Musk has set a date for the debut of the EV maker's first pickup and further tied the truck to the famous sci-fi movie that inspired its design. Tesla will unveil the truck November 21st in Los Angeles, near the factory where his other company, SpaceX, builds rockets. Musk tweeting that the date was, quote, strangely familiar. He shared a link to the opening credits and scene of the 1982 film Blade Runner, which was set in November 2019. That story from Bloomberg. And Toyota's operating profit grew 14% to $6.14 billion in the latest quarter. This as rising sales and tighter cost controls offset a big hit from unfavorable foreign exchange rates. Net income edged ahead 1.2% to $5.49 billion in the automaker's fiscal second quarter. Angelina, back to you.
Volvo Cars has pledged to put 1 million electrified cars on the road by 2025. And the Swedish automaker is paying close attention to the ethical sourcing of one key ingredient used in lithium-ion batteries, cobalt.
A blockchain is a digital ledger containing a list of records linked to each other via cryptography.
Volvo will use blockchain technology to trace the origin of raw materials, including cobalt, a metal often mined using child labor. It's mainly extracted in Congo from large industrial mines, but 17% is dug by hand before being sold. That's according to Bloomberg, which cites trading house Darton Commodities. Blockchain technology can store transaction data that can't be altered. This ensures participants, such as the mining companies, are following ethical supply chain guidelines. Back in April, BMW announced plans to buy cobalt directly from mines in Australia and Morocco to avoid child labor. Thanks for watching. Take care.